At the 14-year mark, our church began to grow slightly. We broke the 200 mark, but we were also broke. We had no money, and we had sold our campus and made a move to a new campus 7 miles north. It was a 6-month journey that lasted 5 years. You ever had one of those? Okay. It was crazy. We were a church of 150 people, entered into an $8 million building project. I mean, we came out, we survived, but I didn't have any money. We had enough in savings to keep us afloat for about a year. Enter into my life, Nelson Searcy, at just the right time. Entered his coaching network, and we began to see results within about 8 months. It was amazing. We saw new people come. We were retaining more, and we began to grow. Our church, since entering into that coaching with Nelson, has grown by 22% a year for the last 3 years. We add one new service every 10 months since 2009. Our income has jumped 15% in 2011, 18% in 2012, and this year will come in at 21% over last year's giving. It's stunning. It's been a fun ride. But there was one point where I had to make a courageous decision that was probably the most defining moment of everything. I would say that one decision we could pinpoint as where our turnaround began. I give it in detail in the book, but here's the snapshot. It's an internal decision, not an external decision. Most turnarounds, I would say all turnarounds, happen internally in the leader first before they happen externally in the church. For me, it happened like this. A friend of mine asked me to have breakfast with him. I sat down across the table. His name's John, career missionary, godly man, about 15 years older than I am. And he says these words to me. He says, Don, you're a good leader and you understand leadership, and I have deep respect for you. But there is a sense in which your head is disconnected from your heart. And could I just encourage you to read John Eldredge's book, Waking the Dead? I think it would be meaningful for you. And I listened to him. I politely declined. I said, John, I tell you, I can't do that because, if I read every book that was recommended to me, I'd never do anything else. He said, okay, I understand. Well, you just think about it. My morning went on. I had a lunch appointment with our real estate agent. He was helping us move. He sat across the table. His name was Brian. Brian and John don't know each other. To my knowledge, to this day, they still never met. And John looked across the table, and he said, I feel like God gave me a word for you. And I said, yeah? He said, I appreciate your leadership, and I have great respect, and you're a good leader. But Don, it's like your head and your heart are disconnected. Have you ever read the book, Waking the Dead by John Eldredge? I kid you not. As God is my witness, it's like these two guys were reading off the same script. Well, needless to say, within an hour, I had John's book in my hand. And if you've ever read it, it's all about the heart. It's all about the heart. I found myself pouring through that, and I found myself allowing Jesus to talk to me through the pages of that book so clearly. And I was sitting at a restaurant early one morning, and I found myself repenting, and Jesus talking to me so clearly, and he said these words. He said, Don, I know you want the church to grow, but let me ask you a question. If the church stayed at 150 for the rest of your life, and I asked you to lead those 150 people to heaven, and that was your last assignment, and you knew that assignment put a smile on my face, would you do that? Well, there's only one answer. Here's the Lord of the church, who wants his church to grow more than anybody, asking me to lead a plateaued church. But obedience cries for me to say yes. And I said, yeah, Jesus, I'll do that. And in that moment, your heart is revealed. My heart was revealed. I found myself repenting. I was wanting our church to grow for all the wrong reasons. I wanted to feel good about myself. I wanted my own self-esteem restored. I'd been fired. My friends all knew that. It was a bad situation. It was painful. I wanted to have my self-esteem restored. It wasn't really about Jesus and the church. It wasn't really about lost people. What it was really about was me. And I had to die to that. And you just can't fake Jesus out. But that's where our church began to grow. Because it's in that moment, that's when I became a turnaround pastor. I wasn't leading a turnaround church yet, but I was getting close. Personal pain becomes kingdom gain when we get healed and then help heal others. And it was at that moment why I knew Jesus had sent me to lead a leper colony, because I was a leper too. I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of being rejected. I was hurt. And I was reproducing a church just like myself. They couldn't change until I changed. And if Jesus could heal me, then he could heal us. And if Jesus could heal our church, then maybe he could flow through us and heal our community. And if he could do that, then maybe he could help heal other churches and use us to help them heal their communities. All lepers want healing. The lepers in our church that got healed stayed. A lot of lepers left, though. I'm happy to say there are no more lepers in our church. We're no longer a leper colony. Jesus healed us the same way he healed the lepers in the Bible. And if Jesus can heal our church, he can help other churches too. As a result of that, 4 years ago, walking down the streets of New York, I had this epiphany. It was like a Damascus Road experience. I didn't hear anything and I wasn't knocked down, but it was just as clear as a bell that I was to start the coaching network. It's been an exciting thing watching churches that were on the path to decline turn around. If you pick up a copy of the book, you'll read some of their stories. It's been fun being used by Jesus like that. And I want to honor all of you because Jesus is using you in a variety of leper colonies. All of us are leading a leper colony. All of us are lepers. We're in a world full of lepers. Everybody feels rejected and everybody wants to get healed. It's not about the nickels and noses. It's about changed hearts. It's about people connecting to a Savior that loves them so deeply. It's hard for us to communicate his passion for them. I'm honored to stand with you as a fellow leper, healed by grace, seeking only to do this one thing, to put a smile on Jesus' face. I hope you'll do the same. Blessing to all of you.